Hello and welcome to Nondual Therapy. In this video, I'm going to be discussing 3 rounds of 5-MeO DMT that I have done about a week ago. Now, leading up to this experience, I was a bit nervous. The last time I did 5-MeO DMT, okay, maybe not the last time, but the last time I did 3 rounds of it in one sitting, that was the time that I got up and left my house and went for a walk. I was just so scared at the time that I didn't want to be in the house. I just needed to get up and leave in case I smoked more 5-MeO DMT. And to be honest, that experience was probably the closest I felt that I was actually going to die during a psychedelic experience. So I had a bit of anxiety leading up to this experience, a little bit, but I was able to bring myself back pretty quickly. So I set up my pipes for the 3 rounds. I had 3 individual pipes. The first pipe was some leftover material. I had no idea how much it was, but it was probably around 8 to 10 milligrams or something. And then the next 2 were 15 milligrams each. So I did my first round and I sat up on the mat, and I'm finding usually I would, at least back in the day, I would lie down because I'm really nervous. I don't know how it's going to be. And the transition was always so dramatic. Everything would warp and change and kind of disintegrate, and then the walls would go away and my reality would all the layers of reality would flip away before I'd break through. But now that layer of breaking through to the non-duality is so simple. I'm doing it with my breathing exercises every time. It just, the veil is so thin now. So I sat up, I stayed sitting up, and I just stared off. I had the camera above me and I was just staring off. And I had a thought of I should get up and go for a walk, but there was no gravity around that thought. I just, it came up and I noticed it, and then it vanished really quickly. And I was just kind of in that space of the medicine. It's really powerful. It's it has a heavy body load, but I was just it's kind of basking in it, where it's it feels nice. Some people don't like it. I don't know. I personally, at least this time, it was nice. I was enjoying it. So after I was sitting up for a little bit, and I kind of just worked through that, being able to just enjoy it. As that's been a big problem of mine, is just getting to that point of actually doing the medicine. Because once I'm there, I can go for that roller coaster ride and put my hands up a lot better than I can with real roller coasters, to be honest. But anyway, the body started doing its symmetrical movements like it always does. But I noticed that during this first round, it was so incredibly slow. Just the movements were so slow. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything. I just as long as the movements are happening and it's all symmetrical, I have no complaints. Now, I did have a thought of maybe I should speed this up. Maybe I should try and move a little bit faster. But I was no, I don't need to interfere. The body's just doing its thing and the medicine's working. And things are being processed, so I'm just allowing it to go at whatever speed it needs to go at. And the less I actually get in the way of my own self and allow it to just flourish and the medicine to work, the better off I am. So it was slow, and it was nice. It was enjoyable. Now the second round. One thing I forgot to mention is that I was a bit nervous about the second round. The last time I did 3 rounds, the second round really it leveled me. It just completely, and it was challenging to say the least. So this time it was oh man, the second round is usually when, the big event happens, where it's a lot harder than the first round. The first round's kind of dipping your toe in. It's still non-duality and it's still work, but it just doesn't compare. So a little nervous going into this one. So I kept asking myself, oh man, is it time to do the second round? Is it time to do the second round? And I remember at one point during the first round, I went to get up, and I noticed that, because I had my pipe to one side, I went to get up to move my hand to go reach for it. But as I reached for it, both my hands would come up and they'd move in symmetry. So I was I couldn't break the symmetry. I mean, I could if I really wanted to, but it's enough to let me know that the medicine's still working and there's still, this round. Let's just focus on being here now in this round. But eventually, I broke symmetry and, I did my second round. Now, like I said, I had a lot of anxiety, not a lot, but it was it was there. I was a little nervous to do the second round. And, I did my medicine and I sat on my mat, and then this wave of relief just washed over me. And in that moment, I just started laughing, and I started laughing to myself, and I was laughing and laughing, and sometimes it'd be a really deep laugh, and then I would laugh and everything in between, my tone would change, and I was kind of playing with the laughter. It would going up and down, and it was just this, just enjoying the relief. Where it's God, Like I'm afraid. What am I afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of. This is so silly. What a waste of time being afraid of it. And, you know, that was really the message in the second round. It's just like, what am I doing? Taking this so seriously, even though it's just so silly. So just enjoy it. And that's what I did. Now, the third round came and I did my medicine. I wasn't too scared of doing this round because the second round was what I thought would be the big experience. But to be honest, they're all big experiences. I've been plugging 5-MeO malt lately, and those have come on really nice and gentle. And just, you know, I've kind of been spoiled, I guess, by that. I don't know, that's not really the right word, but just the intensity of 5-MeO, of smoking, vaping 5-MeO DMT, it just hits so much harder than what I've been used to. So they're all big experiences is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, back to the third round. So yeah, I smoked my third round, my third pipe, 15 milligrams. There's still a little bit of material left in the pipe, as there always is. So I'm not getting that full 15, but it's enough to break through. Like I'm there. And during this time, and like, you know, maybe 10, 15 seconds following the inhalation, I did this like violent like head shake. And, you know, it was in that moment, it was like, you know, Josh is kind of being shaken out, but I'm still there, even though Josh is not there, but I'm there. And Josh is gone. And the character Josh that I've played for my entire life, the character that I've constructed has been pretty calm. You know, it's this calm, introverted character. And, you know, I have my angry moments, just like as anyone, but you know, for the most part, it's just like this calm character. And during my third round, or at least at the beginning of the third round, where I did this like violent shake, you know, it was still me. Like Josh is not there anymore, but it's still, I feel like it's me, like the real me. And it was like it was really intense. And it's okay. And in that moment, I felt like free, like really free, that like, I don't need to like be this calm character all the time, that I can be intense. And intense is okay as long as it's true to myself, the actual self. So that happened. It was really quick. And then, you know, I was doing the rolling thing, and eventually the medicine came to a conclusion. 3 rounds, done. Felt great to finish. Now following the experience, I'll try and make this quick. Following the experience, it felt like I really needed to integrate the experience. Whereas like these 5-MeO malt experiences I've been able to process the energy on the medicine, but maybe because I'm doing 3 rounds, I don't know, I just wasn't able to like fully process all the energy out. So I needed to integrate a bit. So usually I've been smoking weed to do my integration sessions, but in this time, I just decided to meditate. It just worked out that way. So every day, 2 to 4 hours of meditation every day for the past week or so. Now, the first couple of days, I was really working on this problem, and I could tell that I've been working on this problem for a very long time. There was a hint, because it was like right at the end of it, there was a hint of solipsism. And solipsism is basically that my mind is the only mind. And it's not God's mind, it's Josh's mind, that there's like this focal point of the center, and it's my mind. So, and then everything is kind of like radiating out from that. And there's like this like center point, but non-duality is there's no center. There is no center, or every point's a center. So there was still like something that needed to be worked through, but I worked through it, and then there was like this sense of like deep freedom, like real freedom. And I felt fucking amazing, like so good. And this is during, you know, maybe my second day of like meditating, probably 3 hours back-to-back days. So I worked through that. I was just like so elated and happy. And then the next day, I was like even more happy. And it was like almost like I'm seeing reality for the first time, where I'm just looking at the simplest things, and I'm so happy. And I'm like really, really happy and at peace. And the next day, I'm even more at peace. So I'm really enjoying this. Like I've struggled being happy my entire life, but this was new to me for an extended period of time. Like I could do medicine, and then like the next day I'm like, I feel pretty good, but then like there's like a problem to work on. But here it's just like, I'm just like watching life. I'm just seeing what's happening. And yeah, it's so nice. I don't know. I can't really describe it. But whatever enlightenment is, like I feel like that is as close to it that I've been sober and for an extended period of time. It lasted like 3 or 4 days. So then came this point where I was noticing my wife was like getting more and more agitated as the week was going on. And then finally we had like a pretty lengthy conversation, and I was able to remain in this like state of like having a difficult conversation about like deep topics. Whereas like Josh, the character, would usually like roll over and like, just try and keep the peace. Whereas like as soon as I can get to a place where it's peaceful, like that's like the outcome that I'm looking for. But in this instance, that's not the goal. The goal is to like be myself and to allow unconditional love as much as I can. And there's no like target outcome. And I was able to remain like that during this conversation. So like a year ago, if I had this conversation with my wife, it would have turned out a lot differently. But I didn't care about the outcomes. And during the conversation, there was like levels. Like I would go all the way up to like God mode, where I'm just like watching, and the body is just saying whatever it needs to say as it's being in unconditional love, or at least as much as it can. Like I'm still like trying to work through my own thing, but I'm at a place now where I feel like a lot of it, like a very high percentage of it, is unconditional love just like coming out. So it's more beneficial for me to operate this way than it was any way I've been prior. So yeah, anyway, back to the layer thing. So I was like God mode, where I'd see it and then I'd like kind of like drop down into the ego, where it feels like I'm the one saying it and I'm the one that's like doing the interaction. And it feels all the same. Like it still feels unconditional love, but it's like there's different levels. And I could like go up and down these levels. It was really cool. And I was even telling my wife this as it's happening. And we're having like a difficult conversation where it's like we're butting heads essentially. And I'm telling her how happy I am, and that doesn't really go over well. This is like whatever. But I don't know. It's good. It's all good. So yeah, from there, I the next day I kind of lost it. Like it was 4 days of that, and even during that conversation, I was still there. But then like since then, I could tell it's like it's not as rich as it was for those 4 days. But it was really lovely. Like I know that there's this place of I stop holding on to my pain, because that's really what it showed me. It's like I'm holding on to my pain, and by holding on to my pain, I'm simply covering up that state, where that state is my natural state, just like happiness and love and like so lighthearted. And it doesn't matter what's happening, because I'm good. I'm happy, and the whatever way the situation goes, just like love is the answer. So I just like let it like takes over if I don't get in the way. But then if I hold on to my pain and I like create stories, it kind of covers up that layer of freedom. And then Josh is a loser or whatever. So then I got to work through that. And then I can tell, like, that was a few days ago now, and I could tell like I'm like, lifting off the wood piles, and it's like, oh, I'm starting to like creep up, and it's like I'm becoming lighthearted again. So I had to work through some stuff, but it's like coming back. So yeah. But anyway, one more thing that I wanted to share is that like I've been playing this game Elden Ring on PlayStation, and it's like many other games. Like there's a main character, and the main character's goal is to follow the story to the end. And in this case, it's to become the Elden Lord and ruler of all the lands. And so there's this character, and I'm controlling the character. And there's the main quest of doing that, and then there's like little side quests. And these side quests kind of like taper off the main quest, and they go down different things. It just keeps the game interesting, and instead of just like one path, you can go many paths. But it seems like you're leaving the path every time you go down these side quests. But really, you're supporting the character in fulfilling the quest of the main quest at all times. And this is what it feels like in my life. Whereas I'm going down these side quests, and as these side quests are being completed, I don't have access to them anymore. They're just not an option to play anymore. I played it, I beat it, I go back to the place where I beat it, and there's no option to complete it anymore. Now in my life, like the solipsism thing, was one of a few things that I've had during my meditation. Now, I've completed these side quests like solipsism, whereas before I completed it, or before I broke through, there's always something to look at, there's something to break through, there's something to work on. But now that I've broken through the other side, I go to examine it and there's just nothing there. It's like calm, peace, freedom, and there's nothing there. There's nothing. It's just like quiet, silence, peace. And I'm noticing it more and more. These things are just like falling away, just like closing that. I'm completing that quest. I'm completing that quest. And every quest supports the main quest. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, please give this video a thumbs up if you found value, and I will see you next time.